Good evening. Welcome back to the West Ham Network Extra. I am Alex, and it's West Ham Tottenham, or Tottenham West Ham of the weekend. Yeah, it's a game that is always exciting. Apparently, it's our cup final. I don't see it that way, but yeah, last season we managed to get a result there, but it's not been a ground where we have done particularly well in the past. So hopefully, it'll be a good result. Anyway, today I have brought on. I'm bringing on. There's going to be a couple of guests today. First one is going to be Luke. He is a Tottenham fan. If you see him on TikTok at all, he's been rising gradually or very quickly actually over the past year or so. Just speaking sense, he's actually a really good, a really good kind of person to listen to about a solid and balanced point of view on not just Tottenham but football stuff in general. So yeah, definitely great to have him on. So yeah, no further ado, let's bring him on. Luke, how you doing, mate?
Good. You all right?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Uh, how are you looking forward to the game at the weekend?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your cup final, to be fair. Is it?
Yeah.
No,
We're still waiting on
I'm
our
not one of
trophy from
those.
last year.
I'm not one of those. You can have it. I'm sorry. I apologise for that. That's not me.
No.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. As always, it's always one of them nervy ones where you don't know what West Ham's going to turn up. You don't know what Tottenham the team are going to turn up half the time. But I'm going to it, so I'm excited to
That's
see
good.
it.
That's good. I was hoping to get tickets for the game. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the away tickets in the allocation, and I haven't been able to find any spares. So I'll probably be watching it on the telly this weekend. But I don't care. I mean, it'll be a good watch, hopefully. But I mean, you're right when you say you just don't know what to expect. I think both of us have been very kind of up and down so far this season. We were doing okay away from home, but at home we've been struggling a little bit. Obviously, we did get a win in our last home game. Tottenham have kind of. I feel like Tottenham have started this season the way they kind of ended last season. Like the beginning of last season, really strong, very dominating games, winning loads, and then you had that game against Chelsea, and it all kind of started to fall apart. And you kind of ended the season a little bit stronger, but so far this season you're still playing that very same kind of attacking football, but there are some vulnerabilities defensively.
Yeah, I think people get used to how you play. It was a surprise the first 10 games. No sensible Tottenham fan got carried away with that first 10 games last season. The Chelsea game is just that reference point for everyone. And that's unfortunate how it's worked out. Is that everyone who sees Tottenham under Postecoglou, that is the reference point for the capitulation, as it were. And this season, when I didn't think we played too well starting off the season. I thought we were too predictable, too slow, and too easy to play against. And I think recently, after we went on that 5-game winning run, forget the opposition, it's just to see us play better. It was felt like the original Tottenham had returned, and it's a long process. I think sensible Tottenham fans understand that this isn't going to happen overnight. And of course, he has to change things slightly at certain times, but I think ultimately, and you mentioned it there, and it's right, that Chelsea game is a reference point, and that's how he's going to be known at the moment for Tottenham until something drastically kind of changes. So, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched Tottenham a few times this season, and you're right. You do look really, really good going forward. I mean, the first couple of games, I feel like you played Leicester, didn't you? You really did.
Yeah.
You had a lot of the possession, but you did struggle to break them down, and you've had a couple of other games like that. But then you're right. You did go on that 5-game winning run. Brennan Johnson has been in fantastic form for you ever since he was very wrongly in a lot of people's opinions, like hounded off of Instagram. I just don't understand why some football fans feel the need to actually send abuse to footballers, personally all the time to the point where they feel like they need to do that. But he's kind of answered to these he's critics, he's doubters, and come back and he's been in absolutely a brilliant form. So yeah, I mean, he is definitely a player that I'm a little bit worried about this weekend, 100%. But
I think
as I say,
that is. Go on, sorry.
so no, go on.
And that's confidence in footballers. And I think when I think of who I would have out of West Ham and Tottenham in that position, I mean, obviously I love Bowen, I love Kudus. Johnson is just for me is an instinctive player who relies on confidence. I've never felt he's like a top three player. I've
Mm.
always felt he's a player to get. He's one of those to get you into a Champions League challenging spot when he's confident. Brilliant, but I think we're just seeing what he's capable of doing. And I felt last season he was criticised, not even just this season on social media. You should have seen some of the comments from some Spurs fans on him last season, not giving him a chance to just settle in. You see a price tag and you go, oh, he's come from Forest, useless. Tottenham buying the same old useless players from these clubs, disrespecting the kind of your likes of Nottingham
Yeah.
Forest. And actually, he's not a bad player. We understand his ceiling, the limits that he has, but I've never anyone for criticising somebody that much online. These are professional footballers at the end of the day. Like, most of us couldn't
Yeah.
even lace their boots. Like, yet we sit here going, "Oh, he's useless." He's not
No,
useless.
I know that is something that just kind of goes through my head all the time. Like these players, they wouldn't be in the Premier League. They wouldn't be, being paid the amount of money they were paid if they weren't decent at football. And I think we are all guilty of that sometimes,
Mm.
wondering how the hell they ever become a professional footballer, because
Yeah,
sometimes they do
yeah.
put in those kind of performances. We're all guilty of that, but we do have to remember that they probably have more talent in like their weak foot than we do in both of our feet on
Put
our
together.
very
Yeah,
best day.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you do always have to keep that in mind. Um, I mean, obviously, the same problems that you were having last season when it came to set pieces have started creeping up again this season, and also there's been a lot of criticism of Big Ange in regards to not is he. It doesn't seem like he's addressing those issues. Do you feel that way? Do you feel like he has been addressing your defensive and set piece issues, especially recently?
Set piece issues more so. It hasn't been as leaky as it were this year. It's more so key players switching off. Romero, who's one of the fans' favourite from last year, he's been guilty of 3 errors leading to goals this season, and because of his standards that he set himself and what Spurs fans expect. Again, I always refer to sensible Spurs fans, and you'll keep hearing me say this. It's most accept he hasn't been brilliant this season, and that's because of how highly we rate him. And I don't know whether his head's if elsewhere. He's been kind of linked. He was linked with Real Madrid. Obviously, now they seem to have moved on. But you just get that feeling that at key moments he switches off and he leaves Van der Ven a lot of work to do. You also leave your fullbacks, who are considerably high up the pitch, a lot of work to do when it comes to recovery. So I think that's been an interesting one for Spurs fans. It's Romero's switching off attention span at the moment and lack of leadership
Yeah. Because I
that
think
comes
that that,
through.
that 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 was a lot of your problems when it came to obviously your last game that you played, the Brighton game, 2-0
Mm-hmm.
up at half time. You looked very much in control, and then you came into that second half, and it was pretty much. I mean, it was a shambles at the back. It was just individual errors and just poor defending and just not doing the simple things the way that I was looking at it. And it's got to be so frustrating to watch after seeing a first half where you were very much in control.
Honestly, I look at last season as getting used to a system, so I could forgive some of the mistakes that the players were making, but I would put that down to the system. But this season, it's more so players' game management. You see Udogi making mistakes, Romero making mistakes. I don't really attribute Van der Ven much. Porro's been decent for Tottenham this season, but you see these uncharacteristic errors, and you think, but surely that's not the system. You're talking about a player against Brighton. If remember Udogi swiping at the ball to clear it and with his right foot, and it just falls in front of him, and obviously it gets finished by Minter, and I think it was Minter, and you're looking like you can't coach that. That's just a player mistake, and that's what's more frustrating to watch from a Tottenham perspective. You're seeing players switch off, so I'll be interested because you've got busy players. Is Antonio likely to start? Do you think?
Yeah, I think it is likely that Antonio will start on Saturday. Fulkrug is still injured. He did put in a good performance in his last game against
Yeah,
against Ipswich, and he has been favoured to start in that starting role. As bewildered as we are about it sometimes, he does have this tendency to just pop up in random games and just put in a well-beaten performance, and he put in a great performance against Ipswich. And Tottenham is a game where he tends to it tends to bring out the best of him more often than not.
yeah.
And I work with three Tottenham fans, and they all they all can't stand Antonio. Like they're just like, oh, he's just such a frustrating player, such a hard player to play against.
He is 100%. He's busy. He's strong, and that's what I say. That's going to be key for Tottenham, like not making mistakes, because I said your Bowen's going to latch onto them. He's going to be pressing Tottenham like anything, and I can see that being a key thing. We saw obviously at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last season in the 2-1. James Ward-Prowse, was that he scored,
Yeah,
and was it Bowen? But Bowen got
it
the
was
other one,
Bone. Yeah, it was Bone. Yeah,
and they were classic. Just Tottenham just switching off, West Ham alert,
yeah,
and them goals. And I can see that happening. It will happen. Mark my words on this. Tottenham are going to make a mistake, and West Ham are going to capitalise. That's going to be one of the goals that we will likely concede. And when I say mistake, I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just mean Tottenham are prone to that, and West Ham capitalise on it. So, yeah,
yeah. I say I think that's why it could be it's going to be a really interesting game because of how you've been saying about the mistakes, the individual errors, and the lapses of concentration that your defence has been making. Yeah, on the other hand, our defense is now starting to really come together. They're starting to play together. They're starting to understand each other a little bit more, and we haven't been seeing so many mistakes. Like touch wood, that stays that way.
yeah,
Last season we were seeing so many errors defensively, and Kilman's come in, Todibo's come in, Wan-Bissaka's come in, completely transformed that back line, and all those players have been. All three of those players are in my best five performing players so far this season. Kilman, Todibo, and Wan-Bissaka. They've all come in, done a brilliant job. Obviously, we did make a lot of signings, and not all of them have come in and impressed straight away, and not all of them at game time. I think we spent similar money in the summer. I think it was only about like 5 million in it, but obviously we brought in a lot of players.
yeah,
You brought in a few. One of the big names, of course, you brought in was Dominic Solanke, and that's a striker that I always thought would do really well in a David Moyes system to replace Antonio last season.
yeah.
And yeah, I do think he is a really, really good striker. Only he has scored a couple of goals, hasn't he, so far this season? But
Yeah,
yeah, what's your opinion on his start?
Dominic Solanke, I said one of the Tottenham games before he got one of his first goals. I said he's going to be he's the right fit for the system that we need. I think he's a bit too much, costs a bit too much, but that's how much kind of these players go for now. And he will score a ton of tap-ins. Said it and didn't mean that bad on him. I said it's just he's going to be in the right position. He's the player that we missed last season when it comes to just missing out on challenging for that top four. We run out of steam, and obviously Villa were better than us last year. And I think it was glaringly obvious that Richarlison wasn't the centre forward that we needed. Sonny can play there, but I think we missed him a bit too much for the qualities that he brought to us elsewhere. So I think he's that missing piece in the jigsaw. And providing he stays fit, I think he's good for 15 goals this season. I think he will get that. And I don't know whether that's just Premier League or all competitions, but I'm positive about him. It was about being realistic about who we were likely to attract as a centre forward. And I think it's a natural step from him to go from, well, he had the chance at Liverpool before, gone to Bournemouth, he's proved himself, he's got his goals, natural step to get back into Europe, back into the England fold. And he's ticking them boxes off. So I'm content. I'm happy with how he's settled in so far.
Yeah, no, he looks like he's had a decent start, and he's going to be a good striker. I always said I did think that was a really good signing for you. But I mean, let's talk about West Ham for a little bit. I mean, what was your opinion on our transfer window and Lopetegui and our start to the season? I mean, a lot of West Ham United fans have been frustrated about the slow start. A lot of people have been saying Lopetegui not very good. We never should have got rid of Moyes. What's your opinion on this whole transition that we are currently going through?
So from the outside, I think, from my perspective as a Tottenham fan, I felt Moyes did a good job for what he did. Obviously, but then I understand the argument of West Ham didn't want to play a certain way with Moyes, and I think with the transfers that you brought in, I've been impressed with the signings, and I think they've got to settle. And you've played some hard teams. From what you played City this season.
We started off with Villa, then we had Palace away, which we won. Then we had City, then Fulham away, and then we've played Liverpool, Chelsea.
Yeah,
We played a lot of the teams who were sitting in and around the top seven last season.
Tottenham Saturday, Manchester United after.
Yeah, and we've got got quite a few difficult games coming up. So it's not been the easiest start to the season. And I'm fairly satisfied with our start of the season because we're sitting on 8 points, and we're actually only 2 points behind you. I mean, you're sitting on 10 and a few points ahead of us. But as I say, we are unbeaten away from home in the Premier League so far this season, which is something that's I think is a positive. The performances haven't always been fantastic, but it's at this early stage of the season when you've got a new manager and you've got players settling in, I think it's more about just getting those results. Help build that confidence.
100%. I
Personally,
think what people underestimate is also going under the radar a little bit, like settling in. Is you can have, and this is, it was a blessing as much of a curse when Postecoglou had his start last season. It raised expectation levels that were never really likely to ever materialise. And you've got Lopetegui, like you've settled in, you've brought some decent players in. They're not going to just merge overnight. You've gone from a Moyes way of playing an approach to obviously new players, new system, and that takes time. And we're 7 or 8, whatever it is, games in or something. And I would be optimistic if I was. I mean, I don't want to say this too loud. So if I was a West Ham fan, but I would be optimistic at what's going on. And sometimes it's nice to just go under the radar a little bit, find your feet, not have everyone going, "Oh, West Ham, they're a bit of a team," and people start going, well, "Actually, we're going to have to do X, Y, Z to try to accommodate them," which is what happened at Tottenham last season. So all of a sudden, you've got teams going, "No, this can't happen. Tottenham are not a top of the table team. We're going to have to really think about how they're doing that." And I would rather switch positions and have not done that and just settle in slowly. So I think West Ham have had a tough start, but I wouldn't reflect that upon Lopetegui or the signings as far as it stands at the moment. I don't know how you feel about that.
yeah. Well, I mean, my opinion has always been I want to give him at least 15 games, and just to see how things progress in those 15 games. Obviously, after that, if we are seeing poor results, lack of motivation, some of the things we have been frustrated with, see, we're not seeing anything, any progression. We all kind of half expected things to start a little bit slow, but the thought was that eventually, things would just start to get, and they will start improving. The performances will improve. The team will start gelling. So if we're seeing signs of that in the next, I mean, what, we're on 9 games so far. So if we've already seen signs of that. If we see more signs of that and we see progression, then I'm quite happy. But I don't think Lopetegui is going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
Regardless, he's going to be given a little bit of time. And as you say, there's a lot of new players that have come in. A lot of fans have been a little bit frustrated that we haven't been seeing them play as much. But as an example, Todibo didn't start at the beginning of the season, didn't have a pre-season, and we just wanted to make sure he was ready. And he's coming to the side. He's put in 2 man-of-the-match performances in a row
Yeah.
so far. He's been absolutely brilliant. So I think we will see these new signings come in over time, and it will start to gel, and hopefully the performances can come along with it. And it's these games though, because this is what I'm worried about when it comes to the Tottenham game, because we had the Chelsea game a few weeks ago, and usually the Chelsea game at home is a game that we really get up for, and the players, they're really up for it, and they put in this kind of dedicated and energetic performance against Chelsea more than they would in any other game. But we just didn't see that. And so now we're going into another game against Tottenham, which is another game where we usually up our game a little bit. So this is going to be a big sign of, like, are we going to be really going for it? Are we going to see then energy levels increase for the
Yeah.
occasion? Because we didn't see it the last time we usually did. If you know what I'm saying. If you know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I'd expect it to be the same 9 times out of 10 as it is. I mean, I watched a game with my old man it might have been a year and a half ago. Well, I think one was it 2-0 Tottenham or something like that. I can't remember. And that was when I was disappointed watching. The only time I've been disappointed watching West Ham because they never come out in that occasion. I can't remember exactly how many years ago. It wasn't 1 and 2.
Do you know? I remember.
Uh,
I think I was at that game. I remember being equally
just flat
frustrated.
West Ham were flat that game,
Yeah,
but I don't expect
yeah,
that again. I've never expected that. That's been a one-off, and you get people chomping at the bit after the international break to get back into the game, and you come back from like 4-1 against Ipswich.
yeah,
Before that, was it Brentford? Did you draw a win?
yeah.
No,
We got a
you
draw.
got
We got a draw
Brentford,
at Brentford, which I think
and
is a good result. Difficult place to
yeah.
go.
So I think of the basis of that, I'm looking forward to the game, but as I say, I'm never quite confident with Tottenham unless we're 3-0 up,
Yeah.
which ain't gonna happen.
You've had a few injury problems recently. Son, Richarlison, I think have been out. I did hear something today that they may be available for this game. What's
Mhm.
the team who's, as far as you know, players available, players not. Is there any that
Yeah,
you're not expecting to start or be out?
I think Sonny's back. From what I know, everyone pretty much should be back. Should be fit. I don't think we've got any major concerns. I don't think Richarlison will, but I don't really think he'd be involved anyway. As far as I'm aware, there's no excuses. I don't think. I'm pretty
No,
sure.
we
For
should
the
have a
really from what we've had, pretty fit squad.
uh, pretty strong side that you're expecting to be put out then. So it's pretty much. I say your back line is pretty obvious. Like Vicario, Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero, and Porro, of course.
Yeah,
And then you got that midfield. Uh, I mean, Madison, I can never say his name right. Kluivskevski. I can never
Kulusevski.
say it.
Yeah.
I always get mixed up on that, don't it? But do here start obviously Johnson and Solanke to start as well. Who am I missing? I'm missing someone. I'm missing two
So you've
players, I
got
think.
Bentancur will probably start.
Yeah.
Bentancur, Madison, Kulusevski have started recently, but Kulusevski's had 2 lots of 90 minutes for Sweden, I think, recently. I know there's a couple of other players. So I don't know what we'll do there, but Sonia come back in place of Werner. Obviously, if that doesn't happen, I mean, there's going to be outrage within Tottenham, the fan base. Then yeah, Solanke. I don't like the hate on Werner. He was always meant to be a sub. He was never meant to be this star player to change Tottenham. It was someone who didn't have a transfer fee. It was just wages. It was someone who's happy to sit on the bench for Tottenham and just fill in when he needed to until
Hmm.
we kind of progress and whatever. But unfortunately, he's been thrust into the game. He's missed a few chances. Confidence gone. And you know what fans are like? They want him.
Well, I think that was one of the big worries, wasn't it, when he first came on loan last season? His time at Chelsea, he was very much known for missing the easy chances,
Yeah.
and I mean I've seen quite a few reviews, obviously, from a few Tottenham fans over on TikTok, and yeah, there has been a lot of, I wouldn't say it's hate, it's disappointment maybe with Werner's performances in the last couple of games.
No, that's it. It's just I don't know what people sometimes expect from him. So I think his performances have been okay, like okay. Let's use it loosely. He's done okay. It's just when it matters as a Premier League player, as a top player, you've got to score, and you can't miss the chances he's missed recently. Unfortunately, no matter how much I feel sorry for someone, that's ultimately how you're judged, and wasn't to be. So yeah,
Hmm.
let's assume he's not going to start Saturday.
Yeah. Well, some of the comments, or one of the comments I've seen quite often on some of my videos recently, is that from Tottenham fans saying, "Oh, it's a 12:30 kickoff. We never turn up for a 12:30 kickoff."
Mm.
Is that something that you agree with? I struggle to think when it comes to 12:30 kickoffs for us because we don't have a huge amount, but
Mm.
the ones I look back on is very mixed. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, and they always seem to be the bigger games. There's been a couple of Chelsea. Chelsea is usually a 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday, and
Yeah.
that usually goes okay, but not always.
Yeah, I can't really think. To be honest with you, I do think because how I associate is I play football myself, so that 12:30 we've all got it on our phones beforehand, and it never seems to be a good vibe from Tottenham. I always seem to be like, "What's the score? How did Tottenham get on just before kick-off and things like that, or whatever?" And it doesn't ever seem to be good. Now I'm thinking of it, yeah. So maybe we don't have a great record at 12:30, but now I'm not playing. Let's hope that duck is broken. Maybe.
I've never understood that difference between kicking off like 2.5 hours earlier to kicking off like at 3 o'clock or at 5 o'clock. I mean, maybe for the evening games that they could be a little bit different, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't see the big difference. But obviously, it does have an impact for some teams. Some teams just don't perform well in certain in certain fixtures,
Mhm.
like when they're held at certain times,
Yeah.
which is great. So, how do you feel? Obviously you're in the Europa League this season. You've had a decent start so far. Is that something that you think Ange is going to take really seriously? Because I've always felt like in the past that Tottenham never really took the Europa League seriously. I mean, when they were in
Yeah.
it, and they didn't take the Conference League that seriously when they were in it. It was only they always it's Champions League, yeah, but the other European competitions, I kind of feel like, yeah. But I see it as a great opportunity for you to actually win a trophy.
Yeah, 100. There's an arrogance about Tottenham in some of these competitions. I don't know where they get it from or where you get it from, whatever this, because it we haven't got the recent history to decide that we don't take these seriously. I think the trouble is what fans might get mixed up with Tottenham fans is that we have got a weak squad in terms of it being thin, and you just got to play some of these other players in these
Mm.
competitions and. We're one step away from a slip up and we nearly had that against Karabag. Obviously, we was lucky against Ferencvaros as well. You're talking about we made mistakes, we didn't play great, but we got the victories, and I think that's going to be a recurring theme. And it might come across as not taking it seriously, but I think in Ange's defence, looking at the players we've got, you can't play your strongest 11, and we have a strong 11 on paper. I say strong, a top 6 or 7 squad, starting 11. But ultimately, you've got to rotate the squads, and I think that might come across as arrogance, but it has to be. Unfortunately, with all of these games, at one point of competition, you have to go. Yes, we might be more likely to win the Carling Cup, Carabao Cup. I always call it Carling.
Yeah.
But ultimately, of course, we're going to put a stronger team in the FA Cup. This might look like arrogance in the League Cup, even though that's something we could win. And it's this weird combination of it that just comes across full stop. Oh, Tottenham aren't taking it seriously. When if we had a squad big enough, like maybe a Chelsea, maybe we could play a strong squad in everything.
I don't
But
I
you're
don't
right.
think anyone's got a squad as big as Chelsea.
No. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think you're right. There's a massive chance for these competitions, but it's been
It's,
worrying at times with how
yeah,
we've performed.
it just seems very strange to me that over the years that Tottenham haven't really gone for it in some of these competitions where they could have won some silverware. No matter the silverware, silverware is silverware,
Yeah.
and that's what the fans crave. And I know, as I say, I know a lot of Tottenham fans, and they hate the fact that other teams can banter them for the fact that they haven't won trophies. Now I'm not going to come on here and banter. Like I do that enough on
Yeah,
I do
mate.
I do that
Do what
enough
you
on
like.
TikTok. It's just a little bit of fun.
But you know what?
But
With that the European Conference, Europa Conference League, sorry, I think West Ham set the bar for that one because I think spot on that. I think it was almost this Mickey Mouse thing when it was first about, and teams didn't know how to get a feeler for it. And I
mm,
think that was almost this thing where it was almost like this third-rate competition. That when people saw what West Ham could do against teams and beat them, and the buzz behind it, and then the achievement, it's all of a sudden, oh, actually, wait a minute, this is a serious European competition. Forget um, Europa League or forget Champions League, whatever. Europe is Europe, and a trophy is a trophy.
mm,
I don't feel in that initial season Tottenham were in it. People kind of knew what it was about, how to take it, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, actually, this is how you take it. It's a trophy like a normal trophy, another trophy, and then we've seen obviously Villa do pretty well in it. And I think that kind of it come at the worst time for Tottenham. I think perhaps maybe we needed to get it on another year when we kind of got a feel for it, and I don't think
yeah.
we ever quite understood it. If that makes sense.
I think people look at the competitions and see the level, some of the names in there, and you literally do with some of the names around who
Yeah.
never heard of it. But at the end of the day, still got to play 6 games in the group stage. Still got to go into a last 16 round, a quarter
Yeah.
final, a semi final, 2 legs. You've got to play in those games, and as a Tottenham, you will know if you don't, turn up, you can get embarrassed. So you've got to turn up and you've got to put in those performances because surprises can happen and shocks can happen. And some of those games where we played, yeah, were the opposition the best opposition we could have played in that competition? No, the first decent, I say the first big decent team that I was actually a little bit worried about playing was Fiorentina in the final, and
Yeah.
I do feel like on the night they may have played a little bit better, but we managed to get the goals. And yeah, I mean, I never thought I would see that in my life, and yeah, I want other fan bases to experience things like that. So yeah, any team that is in it, like Chelsea, I just feel it's just a wasted
Mhm.
competition for
Yeah. Yeah.
them. But I still feel like they would want to win it as
Of
well
course.
because it's just it's something, isn't it? It's a reason to have something to smile about.
Yeah, look forward to and get into. Yeah, 100%. As I say, I think Tottenham got embarrassed in that competition. FC Mura was like a game which was the absolute catalyst for that. and then people forget like how it ended for Tottenham in that competition, what getting disqualified for not fulfilling a fixture.
Yeah,
Things like it's such a silly thing. It's such a shambles. That whole Tottenham time in the Europa Conference League was just a shambles of an
yeah,
appearance. But yeah. Anyway, we move on from that.
yeah. We'll move on. So let's just we'll quickly finish on the game at the weekend.
Yeah.
What's your predictions? What do you reckon's gonna happen?
Now, every game so far this season, I've predicted a 2-2, right? And how many times has that happened? It's not happened, right? So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to say 2-2. I would love to say a Tottenham clean sheet. I just can't see it. I do think we'll score, and I do think we'll concede, but I have a feeling of it. I'm just gonna go 2-2. Alex, what do you think?
2-2. Well, very similar. I had predicted the draw for every single West Ham United game
Yeah,
so far this season, apart from the Liverpool one, which I knew we were going to lose,
yeah,
and the Ipswich one, which I said we are going to win. But every other game, I had predicted a draw. And so like we go away, and yeah, 2-2. I think would be a good result for us. I'd love to think that we can get the win. But as I say, you just don't know. There's so many unknowns with this game. So like, I'm going to sit on the fence. I think it'd be a high scoring one, actually. I think
yeah.
both teams very capable of scoring goals. I'm gonna go, forget it. Let's go 3-0. I'm gonna go 3-0.
3-0.
Why not?
All right,
Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's go 3-0.
not bad.
Anyway, well, you're welcome to stay on for a little bit if you want. I'm going to bring in Bailey, who is a West Ham United fan. I
Yeah.
mean, if you need to go, that's absolutely fine, mate. Honestly, so
You're making me say, I've got to tell you, I've got to leave because I've got to go to bed, haven't you? That you just want to embarrass me. I need to say it's my bedtime, Alex. Good night and sweet dreams and all of that. But no, yeah,
but
I've got to shoot because I've got to get off. But I appreciate you having me on tonight.
no worries.
Always good to catch up with you. And
Yeah,
all the
no
best
worries.
Saturday.
Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. And yeah, all the best for Saturday. Yeah.
Take care, mate. See you
Yeah.
later.
Anyway, see you later. Cheers, mate. Bye. Right. That was Luke, Tottenham fan. Just having a little chat about the game on Saturday. And now we're going to bring in my next guest, who is Bailey. Bailey, how you doing, mate?
Hello, how are we doing?
Well, not too bad, not too bad. How you been? You've been sitting there for a while. I didn't notice.
A little bit. No, a couple minutes. I caught the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Free you're going for, are you?
Yeah. So, right, where was I? Right, okay. So, yeah. So let's have a little bit of a chat. We'll talk about the Tottenham game. Talk about the season so far. Your feelings and opinions on certain things, because obviously everyone has very different opinions on our start
They
to the
do.
season so far, and I like to think that I'm still on the positive side at the moment.
I
But yeah,
definitely am as well. I'm trying to be.
it can be difficult at times,
It can
but
be. I think if you spend too much time on social media, you kind of sway towards a negative because it is so negative sometimes.
oh yeah, I mean, when we lose, I just stay off X. There's just
Yeah,
it's just pure negativity on there, just 100%.
it really is.
So I try and stay away from that. But yeah, so yeah, you look forward to the game on Saturday?
I am, mate. I've missed it. I hate
Yeah.
international breaks.
Oh god, yeah, they're frustrating, aren't they? And it just feels.
Honestly.
And this one feels so long. I don't know why. I know it's only
Yeah.
it's been less than 2 weeks since we played Ipswich, but for some reason it feels like it's been like a month. Just
It's 'cause
dragged the last
I
2
think it's
weeks.
because England played so early, didn't we? We played on, was it Monday night or Sunday night?
No, you're right, because we played on the Thursday and then we played on the
Yeah,
Sunday. When usually I think we play like on the Friday and then the Tuesday.
usually. It's usually like a midweek, like middle of the week game,
Yeah.
but
So
because it
at
was
the end
not
of Sunday,
early.
I was like, "Oh, international break is over. Premier League football's back." I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, in 6 days."
But
So
yeah,
yeah,
the international break, just like I hate it. I
yeah.
don't really enjoy watching England
No, I mean,
anyway. Like,
I think I always tend to stick it on because I like watching football and I want to see how they do.
yeah,
And
true.
obviously it gives us something to talk about during the international break, being content creators. We talk about
Yeah.
something sometimes. But I missed the game on Sunday completely because I was feeling like absolute crap. So I slept most of the day
Yeah, I
Sunday.
watched that. I watched the game. We played all right.
All
is what
right.
I'd say. All right.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
do you know
won.
what I mean? With the team we had, we should be beating them. Was it 3-1 in the end?
Yeah, it was 3-1
Yeah,
in the end. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We should
But
be beating them.
I think I probably would have preferred to watch that game than the Greece one, which was just a complete shambles from beginning to end.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one, so I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, no, that
You
was
know
a
what?
very
Ever since
frustrating watch.
he took out Jared Bowen, and that kind of took all the you know, uh,
I
the
had mixed
glamour away
feelings.
from it. When there's no West Ham player, I feel no connection to the team.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I had mixed feelings about that because obviously for Bowen, like, I'm so like stoked that he's made, his performances have got him that opportunity.
Yeah,
But as a West Ham United fan, I'm kind of glad that he's not out there risking himself and possibly getting injured because
very
it's just
true.
such a big player for us. And I
He
felt like
doesn't
he
get
needed
much.
a break.
He does probably, but he doesn't get much game time usually. He gets like cameo appearances,
Yeah.
and with Bowen, I don't know. He's been called up to the team twice now in his career, right? And he's been dropped twice as well.
Mm,
Ever since,
yeah.
like, it seems like he gets called up, and then his form dips a little bit. Like,
I think I think the reason obviously he wasn't picked because his form at the beginning of the season hadn't been
yeah,
absolutely brilliant. But I mean, maybe that had something to do with the fact that he did go to the Euros. Obviously, he didn't play a lot, but he was still
true.
training, and he had he come back late, only had a couple of weeks off, and then was kind of
Oh yeah,
frustrated into pre-season where a lot of other players are a lot further ahead of him. So he probably feels that pressure to try and keep up with them. And
true.
these players coming
I
back from
think
international duty
it's probably
kind
one
of
of the reasons why Fulkrug got injured, and like I think that's probably one of the reasons why he's gonna get injured and is struggling to get into the team. Well, to get to fitness.
Hmm.
So I think it has affected the international players, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's a strange one that with Fulkrug. I mean, it's been reported again today that like, Lopetegui said in his press conference that he doesn't know when he's going to be back available.
They won't give
It
us. They
was
won't even tell us what it is. They're
was
just
it?
like we don't know the timeline. He's just got an injury.
Yeah, it was his Achilles. That's all we know. That's all we've
Yeah.
ever heard. It was his Achilles. What it is with his Achilles, we don't know.
No, mate.
But this is the way with West Ham. And do you remember, like last season, we had Bowen
I
out, we had
know.
Paquetá out, and we just had no idea when they were going to be back. She was like, "Are they going to be
No.
back this week?" And they're like, "They might be. They might. No, they're not this week. Maybe next week." It's like, for God's sake, just give us a timeline. Just give us some information. Like, do the medical team not know what's going on with his injuries, or they're just winging it, aren't they?
They might
Just
be, or
feel-
they're just withholding it purposely. I mean, it's just our luck, isn't it, that the new striker we bring in goes and gets an injury at the start of the season. We get to see him for like one game against Bournemouth.
we got to have some of the worst luck when it comes to strikers. I just can't. But and this is what a lot of people like in my comments have been saying. Oh, should have bought Duran. I was like, yeah, that would have been great, but I guarantee it, something would have happened.
Oh
Something
no,
would
he
have
would have.
happened.
He would have got injured. He would have,
Yeah,
or he wouldn't have started, or something stupid like that. I mean,
or he didn't get on with the manager,
yeah, it
or
would have
maybe
been. It
his
would have
form
been. It
just
would have
he
been.
just didn't settle, and he didn't get on with his teammates, or
Yeah, I know.
something always happens when we sign a striker.
I
Mikel
don't
Antonio is
think.
going to be starting up top for us like when he's 42 or something.
Yeah, I literally did a video about that yesterday. He's gonna be our starting striker in like 5 years' time. He's not leaving.
No, we can't afford to let him go
Yeah, it's true. That is true. I
until
mean,
we've converted another winger.
yeah. With the Duran thing, I don't even think we would have got him, to be honest. I think Villa knew all along, like they knew how good he was, and they weren't going to let him go, and that's why they kept just like saying, "Oh yeah, we want more money." Every time we bid, it
Mm,
was like we're upping it a bit more, and we want your youngster as well. Give us 40 million, and we'll take your young prospects. And then I
yeah,
don't think they actually wanted to sell him,
no,
and
I don't
you
think
can see
they.
why now.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of things. One, I don't think they ever really wanted to sell him. Two, I don't think they were willing to sell him before they played us in the Premier League on the first game of the season. So
Yeah,
I don't think that was ever going to happen. And I think the only way they would have done is if we just bid way over the odds. And I would say over 50,
yeah,
60 million. And then that probably still wouldn't have been accepted until after the Aston Villa game. And I think one,
true.
we budgeted a certain amount we wanted to spend up top, and that was going to break the budget. Two, we wanted to get the business done before the first game of the season. And we were a little bit tired of just being messed about by Villa because they say a number, we match it. They say a number, we match it. We say a number, they match it. And
Yeah.
so, like, we criticised that we didn't get that deal done. But I think if we were in that position, just going by that, I think I might have just gone. Do you know what? Screw it. I'm just if you're just going to keep on moving the goalposts, there's just no point.
Yeah. Well,
Waste our time.
at the time,
Yeah,
I remember what people were saying on X and like on TikTok and stuff. We were all like, "Move on, let's get."
yeah,
I mean, we need a striker. Move on. And
yeah.
hindsight is a wonderful thing, right?
It
But
is. It is.
we
Yeah, I
all
mean,
wanted to move on.
I made a video on TikTok saying, do you know what? Tell Villa they can go screw themselves. We don't,
Yeah, exactly.
tell them to go screw themselves. Yeah, whatever. You know, we're not going to pay that much money. And every single time he scores, that video suddenly gets pushed onto the FYP again. I just get Aston Villa fans
Yeah,
commenting on it and saying, "This aged well." I said, "Yeah, pee off."
I know. I know. I knew he would score against us on that game. You just
Yeah.
could see it. It was written in the stars.
It was. It's just
Yeah,
the West Ham thing to
the
happen, isn't it?
West Ham way.
Anyway, let's stop talking about players that we never did sign and never were going to sign. Let's talk about some of the players we did sign because I mean
Yeah,
we've got quite a few good signings over the line, and I feel like our back line definitely deserves talking about. The Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman. I think they've all come in, and for me, they are up there with some of our best performers so far this season.
Kilman 100% has been our best player this season. I think
Yeah,
he's been absolutely class. He looks. I don't know. I don't think we've ever had a centre back like him where he can come out with the ball. He's so good in possession. He can play. He's left-footed as well, which is lovely. And I think that the Todibo Kilman partnership could turn into something that is like really special. And hopefully they stay fit.
yeah.
And then Wan-Bissaka as well. He's been a little bit poor recently, but I think he
I think
will.
he's going to have up and down games.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, all these players, all players do. I mean, he wasn't particularly good against Chelsea. But what I have liked about
No
Wan-Bissaka
one was good against Chelsea.
is, yeah, I don't know. No one played well. That was a shocking game. No, one thing I've liked about Wan-Bissaka is I didn't know he was so versatile. I didn't
Oh
know
yeah,
that he could.
left back. He
I,
can
I,
play. He can play just as well at left back as he can at
yeah,
right back. He's
and
class.
I actually feel like he's looked a lot better at left back. He likes getting forward on
Yeah,
that
yeah,
left
he
hand side.
does. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why that
Yeah,
is. He's able
yeah.
to play those passes inside. Um, he can play like the balls into the midfield with his right foot. He likes to cut back, doesn't he, and play it into
Mm,
midfield. It actually suits him quite well, to be fair. But
yeah.
we have Emerson, so I
Yeah,
think
we do
like
have Emerson.
when
Yeah,
Emerson's
isn't it?
fit, he's going to play right back.
But yeah, he wasn't brought in as a left back, but it's just a position
Yeah.
that he can play. So no, I
It's
have been
good.
impressed,
Good
and
to
I
have
do
a
think he's
versatile fullbacks because
yeah.
cover it. I mean, we have no cover at left back other than him, to be honest.
Well,
Unless we
Creswell.
bring who's the youngster? Scouse,
Yeah,
Scouse,
Oliver Skulls.
Oliver
Oliver
Scouse. He looks,
Skulls. Yeah, he signed a new deal
yeah. So
recently. So
they obviously think he can break into the team. Hopefully.
yeah, I do wonder if this will be Creswell's last year, and then a
Oh
backup
yeah,
left
but
back
I
may
always
be
forget.
Oliver
I
Skulls.
always forget about Cresswell. Yeah,
It's because it's always his last year.
yeah.
He keeps on having a last year. Like, no, he's going to leave this season. Then he doesn't. He's going to leave this season. No, then he doesn't.
I do love him.
He's
I need to respect him a little bit more. He's actually he's been an unbelievable servant for us.
no, he has. Yeah, I mean, he's a little bit older. Doesn't have the pace anymore, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's still been fantastic for us for many
Oh
many
yeah.
years.
What a
Like,
signing. 3.5
yeah,
million 10 years
I,
ago or something.
yeah,
What a
no, that
signing.
yeah, no, an absolute steal. But obviously, all players do end up getting that little bit old. But Lopetegui seems to like it. Lopetegui wanted him at Wolves.
He did. I remember. That's when
Yeah,
when I saw Lopetegui was coming. I was thinking, yeah, Cresswell's going to stay. He'll get
yeah,
another contract.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then and he likes Antonio as well.
Yeah. Every
So I love Antonio. Antonio's another player, isn't it? Like we absolutely love him
yeah, I
and
know.
everything he's done, but we just know that he can't do it every single week anymore.
No,
We'll occasionally see a performance like the one against Ipswich, and I actually thought he did really well against Man City. But then
Yeah,
you'll just get random games where nothing goes right for him. His first touch is terrible, and when his first touch isn't terrible, his second touch.
he's always been that player where he has purple patches and then he'll go for a run where he doesn't score for like 10 games and he comes back and bounces back, gets like a run of games. He's just that type of player. But
Yeah.
he's such a nuisance for defenders. I think that's why managers have loved him so much because he does the dirty work, the pressing. He's a nuisance for opponents' defenders, and he just gives you at least a 6 or 7 every game,
Yeah.
even if he doesn't miss. I mean, some of the chances I've seen him miss over the years have really like hurt they hurt my head, but.
Yeah, I know. Whenever you see Antonio running through on goal, you just
Yeah,
don't get excited.
just flip a coin because you have no idea if he's going to finish it or not.
I think because I think there was one time it was just such a typical Antonio. I can't remember who it was against, but he was going through on goal and was like, he's not going to score. He's not going to score, and he shot. Keeper saved it. It's bounced up, hit the defender, hit him, and then went in the goal. And I was like, yeah, actually, no, that makes sense.
Was that his first? Was that his first ever goal?
No, that was the one. That I think it was like Southampton. And he
the
just
one where he
over.
like tripped over and
he
then
tripped
hit
over and the ball hit his...
looped over. That
Yeah.
that was kind of like the benchmark. That's what his career is like. When you look at that goal, you're like, that is his West Ham career.
Yeah, that was a sign of what was to come.
Yeah,
from
literally.
Mikel Antonio. I mean, he can score some fantastic goals.
He
He can. He's got a fantastic strike on him, but
he has.
Yeah, God, he can miss some sitters.
Oh yeah, he can. But he is our all-time goal scorer in the Premier League. I mean,
yeah,
you can't.
No, you do have to respect him. You do, but yeah, at least for the time being, he's going to be up there still and still doing a job. And you know, I don't mind him starting against Tottenham because it is a game that he likes to play in.
Oh yeah, he's got a good record.
Tottenham hates him.
Yeah, it was because he scored the first goal at their new ground, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then
they did.
That celebration he did.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
absolutely perfect. Yeah, he's definitely a character. Antonio definitely is.
Yeah, I love Antonio.
How are you feeling about Kudus so far this season? Because I feel like he's had a little bit of an up and down start. Obviously, he's been away on the international league. Didn't have a great international break. Ghana have near enough not ruled themselves out of being able to qualify for AFCON now. They still are within a chance, but it's completely out of their hands. So, do you think that's going to have a negative impact on Kudus? He's just been so. He's been decent, but he just hasn't been. He hasn't been himself.
You know what I mean? He's not had the attacking returns he usually gets, judging off last season. But he's like when you look at his dribbling stats and the way he plays, when you watch him, he's still running at defenders and he's still like doing what he usually does. It just doesn't seem to be coming off for him, and that feels like it's not coming off for the team at the moment. So
there's no end result, basically.
No, he's not in. It doesn't seem to be in the positions to be able to get goals and assists.
No. How do you feel about him on that left?
I don't like it, but I mean, you have to. You kind of what can you actually do though? Because you can't move Bowen. He's our top goal scorer last season. He's the one who gets our goals. I don't know. Personally, I'll put him in the 10 and see what happens because we've not actually seen it yet.
No, I'd love to see him in a 10.
And Paqueta last year played on the left quite well, and he had a really good partnership with Emerson. So I don't know why we haven't tried it yet.
No. But we've also got Somerville as well, who we brought in. Want to see?
That's another one. I would love to. I like Somerville when I watch him. I think he's got a bit. He can like run at defenders, good delivery. I do want to see him play more, but then you think you've got to drop one of them.
This is the nice dilemma that we have this season.
It is a nice dilemma.
I don't ever remember last season thinking, right, okay, I want to see that player in the side, but then what do we do with that player? But this season, it's like, right, okay, I want to see Kudus in the 10, but then what do you do with Paquetá? But I want to see Somerville in there. But if you move Paquetá in, well, who do you drop? Do you drop Souček or Sola maybe?
You can't drop Souček's been one of our best players. You can't drop him at the moment. He's killing it.
He's one of those players that
He's another player that everyone
it's
bashes,
no,
yet he performs really well.
I've always been a big supporter of Thomas Soucek, and it was until the start of this season because I thought he really did
Yeah,
suit David Moyes' system, and he was the perfect player to fit into that system. It just worked. And then when Declan Rice left, he was given that freedom back again because I always felt that he was held back by Declan Rice. Declan wanted to go forward, he was pushed back more, didn't get into his
yeah,
own position. And then when Lopetegui come in and it was more of a possession-based game that it looks like that we're playing because we do have more possession. We're not doing a huge amount with it, but we are having more possession. Kind of looked at Thomas Soucek and I thought, well, that's the weak link there because his passing
mm,
stats are not always brilliant. Doesn't get on the ball enough.
yeah,
But he has got this uncanny knack of just being able to be in the right place at the right time,
he really
nearly
has.
every single time. And you just it's just you want to say
He's
drop him, but at the same time you're like you can't.
we've performed better when he's been in the team this year.
Yeah. Oh no,
When
his contributions in the middle of the park have definitely
yeah,
improved in the last couple of games.
they
They've
have
definitely
improved.
been good. They have been
Sometimes he
good. Yeah.
does pull off. He's not bad at passing. It's when the other team's pressing us high up the pitch and they're like running at us and he's in possession, then he can get a little bit shaky and he doesn't
Yeah.
really know what to do with it. That's when he gets in trouble. He's all
Mm,
right in possession when he's got no
yeah.
one kind of like pressing him. But we had one where it was a Chelsea game where we went Alvarez and Rodriguez, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is the dream lineup. This is what we all wanted." And that game was one of the worst performances I've seen from West Ham in recent
Yeah.
years. It was terrible.
No, it was. As I say, that's something I go back on. Like every single time that I see that starting lineup, I do have to question myself because I've only been
That
happy with one starting lineup so far this season,
genuinely,
and that was the Chelsea game. And then the ones where I've been most frustrated, like Palace away, I was extremely frustrated. It didn't
everyone
actually
was.
work that starting lineup for Palace though. It
No, I
only
didn't.
worked in the second half, so I was right there. But the Fulham game. I
Yeah,
mean, the Ipswich game, I kind of expected it. Um, well, no, I didn't actually. I didn't think that we would start the same line. I didn't think we would go with Antonio again. I was surprised that we went with Antonio because I thought his performance against Brentford
I
was
think
shocking. But
I don't know.
it's just, I
I
just
think
don't know what goes through his head.
Antonio and Soucek are almost bankers now. They have to be in the team. You're almost looking at the players behind him and thinking you got to switch one of them out if you're gonna.
Mm.
I do think Paqueta is like he could be dropped realistically. I know he's so good in
Yeah,
quality. He's so good, but he's going through a lot right now
he
mentally
is.
maybe and I
He
don't
is.
think he's all there. Like you can see from his performances, he's not performing at his normal level. So
No.
if Somerville is going to come in for someone, it's probably Paqueta.
Yeah. You're probably not wrong there. I mean, yeah,
I don't think Lopetegui
he
would do it.
no. He's such a hard player. Well, he did do it, didn't he? He did drop in one of the games. I can't remember which one. I think it
Which
might have
one
been
was
the
it? I can't
Fulham
remember.
game or the
Oh,
Palace game.
it
Yeah.
was Fulham. It was Fulham. But I
Was
don't
it
know if
Fulham?
that's
Yeah,
that might be because he was on Brazilian duty and got back late.
maybe. Yeah, possibly. But then Antonio
But we've
had
thought, I
been with
mean,
Jamaica and he started.
that's true.
So I
That's
don't, I
very
tried to
true.
read. I literally remember standing in the state because I went to that game. I was in the stadium chatting to people. I was trying to make sense of it, and then
Mm,
people were saying, "Oh, he's been on international." I said, "So's Antonio. He went further. He's played more
yeah.
minutes. He's older.
Yeah, I don't know what's that
Why is
about.
he
I mean,
starting?"
we would that Fulham first half we could have been 4-0 down. Like
Oh yeah,
Paqueta coming on changed the game, really.
yeah, yeah. Because we started. I do remember like the two worst performers in that game were Socek and Antonio. Like
Oh yeah.
sometimes Soucek
So
gave the ball
was
away that led to their first goal. I was like, yeah, them two. And I remember saying at halftime, I say, right, what needs to happen is and Antonio and Soucek need to come off, and I
yeah.
think it was Paquetá and Somerville to come on. I think I said, and I was like,
That's who
and
came on.
yeah, and I said, this is the change that needs to happen. It won't happen, but that's the change that needs to happen. And then it happened. And I was like, oh,
We're
and
not
that's
used to that. We're not used to
no,
it. We wouldn't have got that last year.
he is so unpredictable, Lopetegui.
Yeah.
Last season, I used to sit in the stand at home And like I see a player warming up and I go, right, he's coming off and he's coming off and they're going on.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
predictable, wasn't it?
that's what's going to happen. I could predict the starting lineup nearly every single week
Yeah.
without. I haven't got it right once so far this season. Not been able to predict it. I'm still not entirely sure what starting lineup we'll go with against Tottenham on Saturday,
I
even
haven't got
though
a clue.
I don't know. Like, is
I guess
Alvarez going to come
it
back in
could
the
be a
side?
good. It could be a good thing because maybe he lines up. He almost does it game by game, so he'll pick the best players that
He
he
li-
thinks will perform against a
yeah,
certain team.
he leaves it late as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot later than a lot of managers do.
Moyes. Well,
Yeah,
everyone knew Moyes' starting lineup. Like the players knew their roles. They knew it was like what was it Cornet and Ben Rama. They've all said like since leaving that it was so hard to break into that first team.
yeah. Fornell said it
Yeah,
as
for
well.
now
That
said as soon as he got out of the team, he was like, "Well, I can't get back in." Like Moyes has his like he's set in stone
yeah,
favourites.
yeah.
So could be good, could be
It's,
all over the place. Who knows?
well, I think that was one of the frustrations that we had last season. It was like when
Oh,
players
definitely
weren't
was for
performing,
me.
they kept on starting, they kept on
Yeah,
playing every single week, and they just kept on putting in the same terrible performances.
yeah,
But I think that's one thing that we've seen from Lopetegui so far this season is that he's not afraid to take a player off if they're not performing. Like Kudus against Brentford, that was a real shock for me, but it
yeah, really shocked
worked.
me.
That
Yeah,
change worked. We looked so different in that second half, and we looked so much more dangerous in that second half. But it was a
yeah,
big
we did.
decision to take Kudus off that
He
I
brought
don't think
Soler,
anyone would have done.
he brought on Soler on the left wing, didn't he? At
He
one
bought
point, he was
no,
definitely out there.
he bought on. He took off. He bought on Solé and Mavropanos.
And yeah, put Mavropanos right back. He was
Yeah,
so
but Maverick. Yeah, it was just
left
such a.
field.
Yeah, he took
I was like, what is he doing?
Emerson and Kudus off,
Yeah,
Dino's and Soler on, and it was just just was so weird.
it
But
changed the game. So he must have seen something in Brentford and
yeah,
been like, right, well, I need to fix that. I have to bring him off.
mm,
And then there was all the palaver about rift with Kudus and Lopetegui are at odds together. No, they just Kudus got upset. He's never been taken off before in his life, and
yeah.
Lopetegui probably
Oh,
had to explain to him why. And in
I
the
think
end, we
what
got a
was
result.
yeah, I think what we're seeing last season is you had loads of people that were very much Moyes out for a very long time, and anytime there was any way to
I was
make
one of them.
Moyes look. Yeah, but there was some people that were really Moyes out, and there were some people that were so Moyes out that they would use any opportunity to try and make
Yes.
him look bad. And
Yeah.
now I think the tables have turned. You got Lopetegui. Some people never wanted Lopetegui in, and now they're in that position where they so badly want to make Lopetegui look bad. They make some of these things look a lot worse than they actually were. And
Yeah.
it's dressing room bust ups happen all the time,
They do.
all the time.
And you can see why it would have happened, but obviously it's not going to turn into something massive, is it? Kudus is like one of my most important players. Of course he's going to get
Yeah,
back into the team, but he made a tactical decision and it worked.
yeah.
So
No,
Kudus can't really complain.
no, and I think that's probably something that he may have realised after the game that he looked at the performance and thought, oh, do you know what? Well, things were a
Yeah.
little bit different. So no, I think there's definitely been some positives from Lopetegui, not all been
It's not
sunshine and roses, but there are positives there. I feel.
the way if you're an outsider looking in and you saw the way some of our fans talk, you'd think we are relegation candidates losing every week.
Mm,
He's lost the dressing room already. I mean, it's just crazy. We're like
yeah.
eight games into a season.
Now I know it's mad, isn't it? That some people are just writing it off altogether. I mean, look,
Completely.
if we're still sitting like languishing around like 14, 15, 16th, like come halfway into the season, then yeah, I think maybe
Yeah,
some questions need to start being asked. But I think also you've got to take into account the performances that we see as well. If we see better performances, but we're just not getting it over the line, then you can say,
yeah,
right, okay, things will start it'll start going in our favour eventually. I just think things are going to start to click, and we saw things start to click against Ipswich.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say it's only Ipswich, which I think
They've
shows a real
been
amount of
they have
disrespect
not
to
been as
Ipswich.
bad. They've not been as bad as people are making out this season. They put in good performances. Did you watch the Villa game? They were class.
They were the better team.
They
They were the
were.
better team. They should have won that game, in
They
my
should have.
opinion.
They should definitely. They picked up a result. Delap is starting to score goals.
Yeah.
I think that they definitely have a chance to stay up, Ipswich. From what I saw, Delap, if they can get Delap still scoring every week, like they'll be good. And
Yeah.
this is what we wanted, right? We wanted to go against Ipswich. To these teams, these are the teams where we wanted to set up, play attacking football, and get these score lines. That's what we
Yes.
wanted. I mean, that's what most fans wanted.
Yeah, we didn't want to set up very
We've done
defensively
it.
and play very cautiously,
Yeah.
which we didn't do.
Used to do my
It,
head in when we
yeah,
played Burnley at home, and we would set up to not lose against them. And they just, with the talent we had,
it's just some
we
of the
should.
most boring stuff you've ever watched,
Oh
isn't it?
man, it used to do my head in.
Yeah, no, my too. There is one thing that is concerning me a little bit about this Tottenham game coming up Saturday, and it's actually the performance that we put in against Chelsea. Because Chelsea is usually a game where we don't the players up their game. Like more
Yeah.
often than not, you see a much better performance than we generally have been seeing that season when we do play Chelsea. And that's
Yeah.
also what we tend to see against Tottenham as well. Tottenham is another team that we tend to up our game for. Now, we didn't do it this season. We didn't up our game against Chelsea. That was a terrible, terrible performance. Are you
Yeah.
a little bit nervous that we may see something like that again?
I'll be lying if I said no. That there's a little bit of me that thinks it could go terribly wrong against them, but I think it was all tactical, that Chelsea game. I think he tried something,
Oh, it
and he
failed
should
miserably.
and he just should not have done it in that game against a Chelsea team that were like, I mean, they're running rampant at the moment, scoring goals for fun, and
Yeah.
he decided to try this outrageous thing, putting Alvarez in centre back, trying to cover Jackson. I mean, it just did not work, and we
No.
got punished. So I think the team's a lot more solid since that game. And I mean, he won't do that against Spurs. I think he must understand it's like a big game for us.
Yeah. Do you reckon he'll go with a double pivot of Rodriguez and Alvarez again, or do you reckon?
No, I think it'll be
do you-
Suchek and Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Alvarez is coming back from Mexico duty as well, so I think it'll be
Yeah.
Alvarez. Not
Do you
Alvarez,
know,
Guido.
yeah. How do you feel about the Rodriguez and instead of Alvarez in there? It's a difficult one.
Different players, aren't they?
They are. They are. I think Rodriguez is. What's the best way to put it? He's calmer. You know, he doesn't
Yeah,
get stuck in as hard as Alvarez does.
he's a tidy
Yeah,
Argentinian La
yeah,
Liga player, right?
yeah.
And I think he can work. I do think Lopetegui said in his interview that he's still getting used to the Premier League, and I get that. Like, it's going to be a massive change for him. The pace of the Premier League is completely different to the Liga, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I think with time, I think we do want the Alvarez Guido double pivot to be a thing. I think that's why we brought him in.
Yeah, I think there are games where it would be good, and there's some games where I don't think it'll work so well. And this is what I
Yeah.
wonder, because Tottenham is a game that you wonder may he try that, but
I
then he
think
just have
Suchek-
to
I think you have
interrupt.
to play Suchek. In that
Yeah,
game, you have to play
as a-
Suchek. He runs the most out of any of our players. It's the kind of game you need him for.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the chat that I was having with the Luke, the biggest fear that he has about Tottenham is the individual errors and the
Yeah.
lapses of concentration that Tottenham have been showing in defence so far this season. So when you've got a player like Soucek, who is very good at exploiting those mistakes, he is definitely a player that can be good in these games. And also when it comes to set pieces as well, something else that Tottenham have been struggling so far this season.
Get
Players
Antonio
like
on
Soucek,
Vicario.
yeah.
Get him
Oh,
on.
God.
Get him on that keeper. Oh my god! I
Do you
feel
know
like
what?
every corner we get is going to feel like this is a chance, just like the Arsenal game.
I'm seeing a first goal for either Kilman or Todibo. this weekend.
Yeah.
I am. I'm seeing the first goal
Yeah,
from
I
one of
think
them.
set pieces are going to be massive because they are a problem. Did you see him again? He did it for Italy as well, Vicario, this week.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He
No,
flapped at it again in the. He's honestly terrible.
I'll say Van der Ven apparently didn't have the greatest game for
Mm,
Netherlands either. So
no, their defense. They overhyped their defense massively. Tottenham fans.
oh, I mean Van der Ven, I do think he's a great defender, and
I like Van der
bloody hell,
Ven.
he is fast. I mean,
Yeah,
he is fast,
he is.
and I mean, just some of those runs he makes. I mean, God, he just can't be caught.
He is not. His pace is
And
incredible, but he can get caught out defensively. I mean, saw against Brighton, he
yeah,
can get caught out a lot. Like, so I do think there's. I mean, you said a 3-3 for this game. I think it's going to be high scoring. Definitely, our defense is
yeah.
not solid yet. We're still
No,
leaky.
it's
Spurs are
it's it's
leaky.
yeah. It's not a solid defense just yet, but it's definitely improving.
It will
It
get. I think it will definitely
100%
get
is.
there.
Yeah, but I mean, look, we're used to going to Tottenham and basically sitting 10 beyond ball, playing on the counter attack.
Yeah, I don't think we'll do that, to be honest.
That is a good way of playing Tottenham at home
It is.
because they are not very good at breaking down teams that do that. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't want to see it. I want to see us playing their own game because
I think
I think if you put them under pressure, they are liable to make mistakes.
it could end up being a Liverpool. That was worst case scenario. We played well against Liverpool.
Oh,
I stand
that
by
was
that. We
such a
did all right.
weird game.
We played all right, and we just got punished for mistakes. And then obviously Alvarez got it. The two goals at the end don't count. It was like 3-1.
Well, I had
And
arguments about that game altogether because the first one was offside.
yes, yeah,
Their
it was.
third one, we should have had a corner
Yeah,
because it went off for a corner. And then, Alvarez got sent off, and then we just kind of just collapsed at the back, really. And we just
yeah.
kind of like, oh.
It wasn't. I wasn't disappointed. It was a 5-1, and I wasn't disappointed after it.
I
So
know.
I
I've
think
been
that said a lot.
ridiculed so much by saying that we we didn't deserve
We
to lose
didn't
that game
play that bad.
5-1.
No, we didn't. Like,
We didn't deserve to
if
lose.
you watched that game and thought we were terrible,
Yeah.
I didn't watch the same game. Like,
No. I didn't say that we
so
deserved to win it.
no,
I
we
just
didn't.
said we
No,
didn't
no.
deserve to lose it that badly.
Yeah. We
The
still probably
performance.
deserve to lose, but for a performance at Anfield for West Ham, I mean, I've never seen us play like that at Anfield. Well,
No.
actually, I have once when we beat them
Yeah.
with Village, but yeah,
From Liverpool side then that was.
yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, this Liverpool team, I think, will be challenging for the title. So I think we did well. And if it's like that game, it could go. Who knows how it will end up? I mean, if it's just if it's just a shootout between the two teams, who can like score the most? We'll see.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
we know what.
Solanke,
The thing is, we
Johnson's in
know.
form.
Yeah, we know how they will play. I don't know how we're going to play.
That's a very good point.
I think Lopetegui, I can't nail exactly what our game plans are at the moment. You know.
Yeah, that has been that has been one of the frustrating things. Like you're kind of sitting there wondering, like, what are we trying here?
Yeah,
You know,
I do sit there sometimes and think, what is the game plan here? You know, what
yeah,
is he trying? But I guess that's kind of going to happen. You know, we're going to have a bit of teething problems with his tactics and stuff. The players still need to get used to the patterns of play and how he wants to do things. We definitely press higher up the pitch a lot
yes,
more, and we
do.
definitely have a higher defensive line. They're two things that I've noticed.
Well, we've got pace at the back now, which we
Yeah.
didn't really have last season.
Having Todibo, game changer, because
Yeah.
now we can play a lot higher up and we don't have to worry about, you know,
Yeah,
having to run in behind because he's so quick and he's so good on the ball that you can trust him.
We've got Wan-Bissaka as well, who's also really
exactly.
quick at getting back.
Wan-Bissaka.
And Kilman's not exactly slow,
he's
I
not.
wouldn't say.
He's
So
not.
yeah, no, that is a real plus having like players like that.
And it's
Because that
nice.
was
So it's nice that we have defenders now that when they press us, you're not scared, because I know Kilman's got enough in him that he can get that ball out and he doesn't have to worry about it. And Todibo can play that. I mean, Todibo can turn people and get us
Yeah.
up the pitch. Like we've
There
not had
was
defenders like that.
no, there was nothing more terrifying last season than seeing
Oh,
Ariola pass it to
yeah.
Zuma. And you're like, no, don't play out
Honestly.
from the back.
And then
Don't
and
do it.
Mavropanos on the ball, and you're just like, where's that going? Where's it gonna
Yeah.
go?
And
Because
it,
he's
it was
not gonna be able to
just
pinpoint it.
it was so nerve wracking, but I haven't felt that way this season. This
No.
season, I watch us play out from the back, and I'm not worried that there's going to be. I mean, it's going to happen eventually. Like, there will be a loose ball. There will be a ball given away. These things happen. Like it will happen at one point, but it's it's not going to happen as often
Yeah.
as it felt like it was happening last season, and also because like last season we did have Zuma in there, and he because he didn't have the
He was
pace
gone.
anymore, he just
He was
dropped
gone.
further and further back.
Yeah.
And
Well, he
and
had
I
to
don't
drop off. He had to drop off a few yards to make sure he didn't get turned for pace and on the ball. Just
it was so
horrific.
uncomfortable watching him. So
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, he's a defender who done really well for us in the past and had been a great player, but unfortunately his knees have just started to fail him, which was a shame. But no, I feel
I
like
think he knew that as well, to be
yeah,
honest. I mean, he didn't exactly. I mean, he could have just stayed at the club and saw out his contract. I mean, he was earning 100k plus, wasn't he?
yeah, I think we were really keen to get him off the books.
Yeah, we wanted to
I
get him off the books.
I think that was the big thing in the summer when it comes to uh you know spending. It was more our wages than what we were actually buying on
Yeah,
spending
I think
on
so.
players. We needed to bring the wage bill down. That's why we wanted to get players like Zuma out, and why we moved on Aguerd and Ward-Prowse and Cornet so
Mm.
late, because we needed to get some the wage bill down. That was the worry over the summer, not how much we were
Yeah.
actually spending on players. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with all those players
Apparently,
in the summer.
we've got more money to spend. To be honest, I've heard. I saw an article about it. We like we are a rich club now.
Yeah,
Like,
we're not. Well, no,
it's strange to say as a West Ham fan because I've been watching for like years, and to see
we
us be able to spend £100 million every summer is crazy.
yeah. And I don't think, and that was one of the funny things that I had someone say to me the other day. They said, "Oh, well, why didn't you never invest this money into Moyes?" I was like, "We did
Yeah, we did.
several times.
We
We
did.
gave him a lot of money. He spent more than what's been spent this season at least
Yeah.
once. But he just never liked the amount of personnel. But that's just something that's weird. I think we've got less first team players in the first team this season than we did last season, but for some reason it just feels like more. Is it the quality? Do you know what I mean?
No, what do you mean? Like more first team, like
Like
the
so we got to name a 25-man squad of
right?
first team players, right? And last season the 25-man squad consisted of 24 first team players,
Yeah.
and I think it was like an under 21 goalkeeper that we put in it as well. This season is 22 first team squad players, and then you've got Guilherme, who is like the 23rd, who is under 18. So we've actually got less first team players,
I
but as
didn't
I say,
realize that.
it feels like
It was
more.
like we have more. We had more players. How many did we let go?
Well, we had
Flynn Downs,
Cornet, Flynn Downs.
Cornet.
Well, Flynn Downs was on loan last season, but
Yeah, true.
yeah, but
Ben
yeah.
Johnson
So
went.
Johnson, Cornet, Ward-Prowse.
Oh yeah,
Obviously, we did
Walker.
lose Fornells and Ben Rama in
That's probably
January.
what. Yeah, the January
So
transfer.
so that's why it felt like we were a little bit. But we did have those in the first half.
Yeah,
Aguerd's gone as well. Zuma's gone.
good. Zuma. Oh yeah, we have lost quite a few actually, haven't we?
There's
We
been a
brought in
quite.
quite a few though.
Yeah, no, we brought in. There's 9
Some
altogether.
of it, yeah, it was 9 players. Yeah,
Yeah, so we brought in 9, but I think we let go. So who we let go? So Zuma, so Ward-Prowse, Aguerd, Cornet. Who else was there? Johnson.
Ben
He
Johnson.
went. There was others, weren't there? There was some. Abonga went. Abonga
Ogbonna,
went.
yeah,
Yeah,
Ogbonna.
he went.
Did we let any strikers go?
We didn't have any strikers to let go, did we?
That's
No,
true. We
we
wanted
tried,
Danny Ings. Yeah, Danny Ings.
we tried getting rid of Ings. No one wanted him. No one wanted to pay his wages.
I don't blame Danny Ings. Let him see out his contract. It's our fault we
Yeah.
bought him.
And then when you take into account Ben Rama and Fornells, who also left, and Kira, he left as well.
Kira. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
In summer as well. That's 9. That's 9 players. So it's been
Yeah.
a 9 by man
It's
squad. But
been
one
an
of them is
overhaul.
under 18.
It's been a massive overhaul. Some of those are long-serving players for us as well. So I think that's why I'm a little bit easy on the manager. Just like, do you know what I mean? It's been a massive overhaul, new manager, new style of play. Let's just see. Come Christmas, let's see where we're at.
Yeah, I feel there's a lot more positives to come. We've got an indifferent run coming up now. Obviously, we've got Tottenham, we've got Man United, and I think we've got Forest away, Everton at home.
These are games. Those are the games where we need to pick up some points, get up the table. I think we can beat Spurs and Man United on our day.
Yeah,
but
we did last season, didn't we? Around Christmas, I think we beat Man United at home, and we beat Spurs away, and I think that was in the space of a few weeks.
We've got the quality to beat those teams, and the rest of them, I mean, we played Man City, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Chelsea, all
Fulham,
of those
Palace,
Fulham, Palace
away from home, Brentford away from home. That's not an easy game.
Fulham are flying at the moment. We got a result.
Yeah,
Aston
Newcastle went there and
flying.
lost, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Fulham are doing really well at the moment, and we got a result there. Like, we lost 5-0 last season. Crystal Palace, we lost 5-2. Like,
Anfield, we lost 5-1.
Yeah, we lost 5-1, but it was a different kind of 5-1. Do you know what I mean? Last year we had one shot last year. I looked at the statistics.
Yeah, I know. It was shocking, absolutely shocking.
It was horrendous. I remember watching it at the pub. It was awful.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. I
Yeah.
was live on TikTok. I was doing a live on TikTok for it, and
But that was fun.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I was just trying to sit there. I mean, look, it was helping with the views. It was helping, whatever. Just me sitting there. I could do it. I don't go live on TikTok as much anymore. I keep on meaning to, but I don't as much anymore.
I might give him a go. Live watch-alongs.
Yeah, what I find frustrating or a little bit annoying sometimes is because a lot of the time I'm watching a watch along, which is like if I'm watching something on BT Sport, I'm watching it on the app, which is on my telly, so it's like 30 seconds behind. So I always have to hide the comments. Hide the comments because I don't want it to be ruined for me. And I think that's what happened last season during the Liverpool game. I think I had to watch it on a dodgy thing, and I kept on getting spoiled. It was like, oh, it's 4-1 now, so great. I gave up hiding the comments after 3-1, I think. So yeah, I mean, the performance was a lot better this season. So yeah, no, I think it's going to be such a. It's not like the Ipswich game where you can go. Yeah. Can you hear me? I've lost your sound, mate.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Sorry.
You're right. I think I went mute. I think it muted me out of nowhere.
Yeah. I don't know. Don't know what happened.
Anyway, what was I saying? I was just saying it's gonna be an up and down season. If we can get Europe, it'd be unbelievable. If we don't, I'm not gonna lose my head. I think this is one of those seasons where you just got to bed in all these players and let's see what Lopetegui can do. I'm not expecting much.
I think top half finish.
Yeah, I would be happy with that.
I'd be happy with that this season, and then
maybe
something
FA Cup, maybe FA Cup run. I don't know.
If we get to like quarterfinals, semi-finals of the FA Cup, I think that'd be a good run for us. You know, it gives a little bit of excitement, something else to cheer on. So frustrating going out against Liverpool, but so frustrating that we get these ridiculous draws in these cups as well. Like it's every single year.
How they did it this year as well was just not right. Joke.
I didn't understand why they did what they did at the time, but it wasn't until the week after where the Champions League games were being played one week, and then Europa League games were being played the next week.
Yeah.
And so you had half the League Cup games that week and half the League Cup games that week. So that's why the Champions League and the Europa League
Yeah,
teams
yeah.
couldn't play each other, because only one they couldn't play each
I
other on
kind of
either
get that, but
week.
giving them a guaranteed home game seemed like
Yeah, no, yeah, I feel like they've already got the advantage, so just
yeah,
put them away. They all have to go away,
that
and the
should have
people
been
and the teams
started.
that get the advantage are the ones that they have to play them. They get the
Well, yeah,
advantage, not them.
they're accommodating them, so they should have to take a hit for the accommodation, no?
Yeah,
But they're the big teams. They're not gonna. They're always gonna favour the big teams, aren't they? Because
yeah,
they want people to watch the cup. So if they got the big teams playing each other, they get more viewers,
they do.
more revenue, and that cup is already. I mean, it's already a dead cup in it. So
No. But the real the proper fans, or the I wouldn't say the proper the real fans, the fans that have been watching football for years and years and years,
mm,
all would prefer like an underdog story. We love an underdog story, like a team just
yeah,
you never expected to come up. You love it when like a championship team like Coventry last season. I
yeah.
was
I was
so
about to say
desperate for them to get into that
Coventry.
final.
I was cheering for them like, and I was an actual fan in that game.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
so
it
I
was
was just
nuts.
so desperate. You love to see that happen. Yeah, it doesn't bring in the money, but I don't care about the money side of it. The fans don't, and I think
No,
that's just one thing that's been lost from the game is, the fan bases and
yeah,
what it
100%.
we are the people that the football is there for. If there is no fans, there wouldn't be football.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I
it
think
just it just wouldn't be there. So
it is a growing issue within the game at the moment. I think they are pushing out fans. Like I mean, loyal fans a lot more. I mean, Man
yeah.
City. Did you see what Man City did with the
Ah,
season ticket thing?
yeah, no, they're looking of getting rid of them.
Yeah, it's
So
just like
when an old season
if the
ticket
season
ends,
ticket ends,
they're not
that's
going
it.
to sell it as a new one. Yeah, they're
Oh,
just going to.
it's just terrible. Like,
And I think that's shocking. I mean, I thought it was bad enough that what West Ham are doing is when you get a new season ticket, there's no concessions on them at the moment. There's concessions if you keep your
yeah, I've
season
seen this.
ticket,
Yeah.
but new season ticket holders, there's no concession prices anymore. And I thought that
Mm.
was bad. But getting rid of it as a season ticket altogether, there'll be no season tickets. It'll take a
No,
while, but eventually there'll be no season tickets, and that's what they want because they can
it
make
is. They
more
can
money
sell
on
match day tickets.
individual games rather than a discounted price over a season. And
Yeah.
it's they are the fans
Greed.
that
It's just greed. Like,
it is.
and it kills the I don't know, it just kills the club. Like you're killing it from the inside out. I think.
But I mean, I think it's a systematic problem that goes just beyond like the greed of the clubs. Like I think it is also the greed of the Premier League, that some of the
Yeah.
rules that have been introduced, the expectations, um,
Yeah.
and it's all these things combined. Like the club will argue, well, we want to compete, we want to be buying more players,
Yeah.
got to pay a little bit more than that. To that, I would say, well, if my season ticket price went up as
Mm.
a 38-year-old male, that's okay, as long as it's not like skyrocketing, it goes up a little bit. But I don't
Yeah.
understand why a 12-year-old kid should have to pay the same as me, or a
No.
dad has to pay the same for a 12-year-old kid
Thing is that
as
that
me.
was their massive selling point for to taking us away from Upton Park, taking us away from our home to this new bowl, right? And
Mm.
they sold us a dream. I think we all knew they were going to do stuff like this. They got us in. Once they got us in there, then they couldn't. We're trapped, and they can go and do whatever they want. And they're slowly but surely doing like undoing all the things that they said they were going to do for us when we first moved there. The cheap season tickets and
I
kids
mean,
for
it's
I mean the kids tickets and stuff. And
yeah.
they're undoing all of the stuff they said they were going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've made several videos about the concessions, which is really frustrating me. But I mean, what Man City are planning on doing, I don't know if they're 100% going to
Yeah,
do it yet. Is a
surely
scare is a
they're going to get a
scary
lot of
way.
backlash.
Well, I think I mean, it definitely will. I mean, you couldn't have it. Teams have waiting lists for
Yeah,
season tickets. You know, we've got waiting lists for season tickets at West Ham. Other fan bases do as well. So, do they have no waiting list? What do the people on the waiting list feel about it? If there's never going to be any new season tickets available, what are they waiting for? Nothing. You know,
Pretty
they could have
much.
been waiting for a season ticket for 10 years and then suddenly, oh, one's never going to be available because, you
Yeah.
know, when this person gives it up, we're not giving it back. And what are they going to do? You have like
Yeah.
a family of four sitting there, right? And then the middle one is retiring. It's like, I can't renew my season ticket anymore. Oh, well, we'll sell that individual one right there. But the
Oh,
rest of
yeah.
yes, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I understand the financial sense it makes for the club, but
But it's
to,
not
for the
like
fans,
why do
it's
Man City need? They don't need it.
no, they don't.
They,
Well, it's about it's
I
well.
go. I know.
This is
Yeah.
where I come down to the Premier League
Yeah.
because of the financial fair play rules. You know, teams need to be generating more income so
Yes.
they have
But
more
they
money
are.
to be able to spend.
Yeah.
But I understand the need for some of these things. Otherwise, you get clubs who would just go, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to spend 200 million on this player, 200 million on this player.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this person a £500,000 a week. I'm going to raise wages up throughout the Premier League because
Yeah.
wages go up at one team, wages go up elsewhere, prices go up for players, prices go up, everything gets more expensive. People just pay more money, and
Mm.
then you have the same thing happen. You have the same thing happen again,
I don't
where
know
clubs
how.
need to raise more money, so they end up raising prices.
I don't know how
I
they
can't
fix it.
see
To
a,
be
yeah,
honest.
I can't see a way that it doesn't end in the kind of like the same outcome.
They 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 just messed up when they let Man City get bought by a country, and then let Newcastle do the same thing. Because now,
Well,
because if you open up that, like if you just let them do what they want,
hmm,
we haven't got a league. You know, it is going to be them two. They have the spending power. They can go buy whatever players they want. They'll be the top two clubs in the country competing, and then the rest of us, unless you're owned by a country, you can't compete financially. They can't. I mean, we won't be able to compete with any of them.
no,
So I get the rules in a way, but then again, they're making clubs. It's a good excuse for the clubs to go and be like, "Well, we have to do this. We have to. If you want these top players, then we've got to make these cuts." And you know, Alex Ferguson's getting booted out of Man United because budget reasons, and they have to save
yeah,
money, and it's just like
yeah,
it's taking all of the like I don't know if heritage is the right word for it, but all that kind of part of the game seems to be dying.
yeah. No, I get what you're trying to say there. No,
That's what it feels like
it's
as a fan when you
yeah,
look at it.
it does it definitely feels a lot different now
Yeah,
to what it used to feel like. But you kind of try and go put that to one side. But that's the
you have
frustrating thing
to.
when it comes to.
Unfortunately, it is part of our as a fan. It's just part of our being a fan now because
But
of
but
social media.
it impacts the thing this is also doing as well is it does impact the match day experience
Hmm.
because of the consequence that ticket prices go up because they want to attract people who can afford that a little bit more. They tend to be more tourists which are not
Yeah,
into the game as much. They don't understand the culture of the club, and you do tend to have very kind of dull atmospheres. I was speaking to someone the other day and he said, I was trying to sing the other day. I got up and said, come on your eyes, and someone behind me said, shut up and sit down. And he was like,
yeah.
fuck, no, this is what we do here.
It's not good. It was
You
like
know?
that when we first went to the ground. I had season ticket, Bobby Moore lower, and it was happening even then. You had,
Mm,
I think, what the problem they had was you had a mixture of fans in different sections, and then they couldn't
yeah,
really regulate it. So you got people who want to sit down, and you got some people they're all in the same stand. Some want to sit down, some want to stand up and sing, and then they're getting annoyed at the people sitting down because they're like, "Why are you not singing? Let's create an atmosphere." And it kind
yeah,
of I've seen what they're trying to do right now is like get this singing section in the stadium, which I think
yeah,
would definitely help and
yeah,
help create an atmosphere. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, it
I
felt
think
like that when I was going to games.
Yeah, I remember the process of you had to go into Stratford and sit down and choose your seats and things like that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there was nothing about, right, well, these fans are going to be sitting here. It's like, well, where do you want to sit? And it's like, well, we'll sit here. This would be your view, whatever. But what they should have said is, right, okay, Bobby Moyler. That is where like the atmosphere is going to be.
Yeah,
You're not allowed to stand in the stadium, but wink, wink. You're probably because they still
yeah.
trying to get
That
everyone to
was
sit
horrible.
down.
That was like
Yeah.
telling us to sit down all the time was fucking
Mm.
horrible. Like,
And so this is where the club missed the trick. They should have said, right, okay, this area right, if you're sitting there, people are going to be standing, they're going to be singing. Do you want to be doing that? No, right.
yeah, yeah,
I would advise you not sitting there then. Then they go and choose somewhere else. Then suddenly you get all the people that want to be doing those things in the same area,
yeah.
and then you help create an area because it tends to be the two parts, doesn't it? The Bobby Moore lower and the section on the other end, next to
Mm,
the away fans. They're the two sections, and well, either side of the away fans, because that's where I used to sit at Upton Park. I used to sit uh, where West Stand or wherever it was on the left hand side.
next to the
Obviously,
away fans.
yeah, next to the away fans.
Yeah,
And it was a great atmosphere. That's where I was for the very last game at Upton Park. Incredible night that was.
yeah.
Um,
I wasn't there for that one.
I mean, I've moved up now because there was a load of us all gathered together, like 8 of us, and said, "Oh,
Yeah,
we'll all go and sit together." And so we ended up sitting a little bit higher. But a couple of those are like really loud ones that want to get going, and some of them are like they're the ones that will just join in when everyone else joins in.
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know,
yeah. I mean,
I think
there's a
there's a
lot
lot
like that.
there's a lot like that that they don't want to. I mean,
They don't
I'm
want to
like that to
start
an
the
ex.
start the
I'm
atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm like that to an extent. It depends where I am. If I'm
Yeah.
more around people that I know are going to join in, then yeah, I'll go for it
I
the
think
whole
that's
way.
just
But
human nature. You kind of
yeah,
once you if you feel a bit more comfortable, you get out your shell, and that's when you can really create an atmosphere. Or if the game is just like like the Sevilla game,
mm,
everyone is buzzing off of what we're seeing
what a
on the
game
pitch.
that was! What a
So
game!
the London Stadium gets a bad rap, but it can create a good
Yeah,
atmosphere.
it can.
It
It,
can. It
it
has
just
the team have to create it for us at the moment is what it
yeah.
seems like, or because that Ipswich game, I mean, I was watching it on TV. It was so quiet from what I could see. We were winning 4-1, and it seemed quiet.
That's it. This is the other thing that frustrates me. We were 4-1 up, and the fans started like, okay, well, we've won. We're going to leave now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've never been one to leave early.
My dad
Never.
has. My dad leaves, but
Well,
I have to.
when I used to go, my dad always, I mean, my dad's a Tottenham fan, but he's the one who first got me the season ticket and always took me to West Ham. And he always
Yeah.
wanted to leave early because it was a nightmare at Upton Park.
Oh yeah,
It
Stratford
really,
is. Upton Park was an absolute nightmare.
if you left on time, you were queuing for like a
Yeah,
good hour
that's
before you got
why
on the train.
that's why my dad loved leaving early for
Yeah,
that.
he loved. Yeah, see, I don't understand. Yeah, it's a nightmare leaving early and trying to get through all that. I just
Mm.
wait now. I just hang about.
Probably the best. It's probably the best way to go about it, to be honest. Because
I just hang about, and then
yeah.
jolly back whatever.
With
There's no
with me,
rush.
it was always because I live in Essex. Where you have to get a certain train at a certain time, and it's like, well, what do we do? We every at the end of every game, my dad would look to me and be like, "What do we do?" And then we'd be like, "Well, I'd always want to stay," and then my uncle would be like, "Nah, let's go, let's go. Nothing's happening here." Usually we would never get a late goal or anything like that. If we're
Is this at the London Stadium you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, London Stadium. Upton Park
Yeah,
was similar because we
yeah,
just knew what it was like.
yeah.
But
I've always been quite lucky. It's actually a lot easier for me to get to Stratford than it ever was Upton Park.
oh yeah, it's for me as well.
Upton Park, I had to go quite far. I could get on one train, but
Yeah,
it took me like either I had to get like two buses to get to that train station, or I used to get a lift,
yeah,
or my dad used to sometimes drive. But no, Stratford, like yeah, I got two train stations within a 15-minute
yeah.
walk of me that I
It's a
could
lot.
take
It's a lot
take
more,
straight
more
to Stratford.
accessible. Definitely
Yeah,
is. Yeah, I
yeah,
miss
but
Upton Park. Whenever I think,
I do miss Upton Park, but I mean, look, the London Stadium it has that potential, but
they need to bring it closer to the pitch. They need to do. Like they just need to do some renovations, but they're not going to because why would they pay for it? The least they have is unbelievable business. To be honest, when you look at it,
I know you want to criticize, but you can't.
but you have
Look,
to look at it. We are paying
as business people,
peanuts.
and for securing the financial future of the club, the owners have been brilliant
Yeah,
when it comes to that part of it. There's just other things about them that just really irritate me sometimes, and
yeah. But I feel like you're going to get that with owners. I mean, no one's happy with
I
their
think
owners. I don't think any club is, unless you're
I think
Brighton.
when it comes to the owners, I always say, yeah, we could have better, but we
We
could also
could.
have a hell of a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
A hell
We
of a
have
lot
had worse.
worse.
We have had worse. If we remember our history, it's
Yes,
been
we have had worse. Yeah,
terrible. So
yeah. Better the devil you know. That's what I say at the moment. And
yeah,
but we'll have to see how this how the game on Saturday goes against Tottenham. What's your prediction?
I'm an optimist. 2-1.
Two
West
one.
Ham. West
2-1.
Ham. Jared
West
Bowen.
Ham 2-1. Jared Bowen. Mikel Antonio
Suchek.
or
Jared Bowen.
what's that?
Suchek from a set piece.
I did say 3-0 earlier. I
Yeah,
mean that's
it's a
I mean
bold.
that's going back to the Lanzini goal. You know, we
Yeah.
did the
Oh.
post on it the other day. I say quite
What?
literally, every single time I see that, it just brings up that memory of that tweet of a Tottenham fan tweeting.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
bring on
I
Bale,
literally remember the
they bring on
tweet.
Lanzini.
Oh
Levels,
yeah. What?
you know, and then Lanzini does what he does, and Bale. I think he missed a sitter, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I
Yeah,
remember.
Bale missed a sitter to make it 4-0, and then we go and
And
do
then
what
we
we
just
did. Lockdown football. That was just different
lockdown ball.
class, wasn't it?
That was
That was just
unbelievable.
yeah.
We were unbelievable in the lockdown ball. Like,
Mm.
can't believe how Jesse Lingard.
I remember fearing going back to the London Stadium, thinking,
Yeah,
God,
yeah, I remember.
did we just play this well because there was no fans?
Everyone was saying that was one of the rumors at the time. It's like, oh, West Ham doing so well because their fans were always on their back. I was like, come on.
But then I remember the first game back at the London Stadium afterwards was against Leicester, first game of the season. We won
Yeah,
the game 4-1, and it was a
yeah, I
brilliant
remember.
atmosphere. It was a brilliant game, brilliant
We were
result.
playing really well at that time.
No, we were. It was a great period under David Moyes. It was a great. There was some great times. Some best memories have been made over the last few
I
years as a West Ham United fan.
I completely respect what David Moyes did for our club.
Yeah,
Like, I've never seen us play in Europe before. Intertoto Cup against Palermo was the last European game I think I saw
yeah,
before Moyes. So, I mean, I don't bemoan him. He did a great job for us, but I
mm,
think it was just time for change. Like,
yeah,
it got to a point. I think we all felt it. Well,
yeah.
some of, I mean, a
think
lot
it
of us.
was. I think it was pretty much secured for the majority of people last season, like the second half of that season,
Yeah, I
where
think
it just felt
Moyes
that
knew. I think
things are just in. It was they were
he
only going
couldn't
one
get any
way.
more. I don't think he could get any more out of that team than he did.
No,
Is what I thought, and it just needed something new. I think the players needed something new, and I think
yeah,
whether Lopetegui is the right man, I'm not like a Lopetegui. I'm supporting
no,
him obviously because he's West Ham manager, but I'm kind of like open to seeing how well
yeah.
he does. And I wasn't. I wanted Amaron from Sporting,
I
but
wanted
he
Fonseca.
probably who did you want?
Fonseca, who went
Fonseca.
AC Milan, because
Oh yeah, the Lille one. He's under
yeah,
pressure at Milan at the moment, though.
he is a little bit, yeah. I mean, Almiron would have been a nice one, but
Yeah,
Sullivan was never going to pay his like 20 million release clause. That was just never going to happen. So look, Lopetegui was probably the cheaper choice,
he was.
but
Let's be
and he
real.
was
That's why we.
he wasn't the manager that I wanted in. I wasn't overly keen on him coming in, but I
No,
still always say the mistake was never getting rid of David Moyes. If
no, it
any
was.
mistake was ever made, the mistake would have been employing Lopetegui to replace him.
Yeah,
That's mate.
and we will see how that goes.
Yes, we will see
I
how that
still
goes.
think it was the right decision, and I know a lot of our fans still are still going on about Moyes. I wish we'd just leave it, but it just seems like Lopetegui is fighting against this. Like, well, look at what Moyes did for them, and if you don't do it as well, then you are a failure. And I just think
Mm.
I don't know. Give him
Yeah,
some time. Let him.
no,
Let him.
give him some time. I still got the feeling that he's going to do all right, and I think
I
I
think
think
he will.
he's I think he's under. I think he's been underrated a little bit.
He's won a Europa
So
League, by the way. No one talks about that.
won the Europa League, was made Spain manager,
Managed Real Madrid.
was made Real Madrid manager. It didn't work
Didn't
at
go
Real
well,
Madrid,
but
but you're not a bad if you get scouted and recruited by Real
yeah,
Madrid to manage it. You are not a bad manager. Like there is something there. Like he
yeah.
did well at Seville. I think he did okay at Porto as well. I think he was at for a
Everyone's
while.
saying, "Oh, Angie's." You know, I've been seeing like Spurs combined 11s, West Ham, and they're putting out Angie's manager, right? Is a Europa League better than what Angie's won? Yes.
Mm,
He's won a Scottish
yeah,
title, a Japanese title, and a Australian one. Lopetegui's won a Europa League. No,
that's a,
everyone forgets about it, but he's genuinely won like one of the biggest competitions in Europe.
I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to do a Tottenham West Ham combined 11.
Yeah, I've got one going out tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah. I think
rattle off you Spurs fans.
oh, it's so easy. Do you see?
Yeah,
You see my video yesterday? Like
yeah, I've seen them.
they are all in the comments. That comment
I
section is
know, I know.
hilarious.
They think they're genuinely like levels above us. Like
I actually think like
they
they say,
really are.
oh, we're not even your rivals. I
No,
think that Tottenham are closer to us as a team than
than
they are to
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
No, they are 100%. They are.
Ars-
And
I
they
th-
always say, "Oh, this is we don't care about this game. This is your cup final." Come on, you care. They care. I've got mates
oh,
who are Spurs fans. They care.
yeah, they do care.
They play
They
it
do care.
down. They
Yeah,
do care.
100%. Right, guys, we're going on. I've been on
Yeah,
here for nearly 2 hours
we've been
now.
going on for a minute, mate.
Yeah, we
Got
have.
work tomorrow.
Yeah, same here. Anyway, look, thanks for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, mate.
Yeah, no, we'll try and do this again soon. I'll try and do.
Definitely.
I want to try and do more fan chats like this. You know,
Yeah,
over here like, at least once a week. So
yeah, I'm
yeah,
enjoying it.
welcome back anytime. Definitely are. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. If you've liked this live, thank you very much for watching tonight. Really do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. You can go follow Bailey on TikTok.
Bailey Talks Ball on TikTok. Bailey Talks Ball _. Couldn't get
Right.
the actual handle.
There you go. That's where you can find himself on TikTok. Of course, I'm West Ham fan 86, and yeah, hopefully we get a result against Tottenham at the weekend, and we can do a little bit more gloating because we love to banter the Spurs, don't we?
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons! And like, thank you very much for watching.
Bye,
Good
everyone.
night. See you later.
See ya, mate.